Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the TD Report. Merry
What's up?
Christmas, everybody.
What's happening?
Everything is everything. Hey, guys, I know we've missed a couple of shows because of the holidays, but we got everybody back in. I'm your host, David Combs, welcoming up top, over here, Jody Coleman. Over here, my man, Virginia Tech for Life, Tony Kennedy. Hey, man, before we get into the NFL real quick, the Military Bowl. Congratulations to your Hokies. Got yourselves a bowl win. How are things going with Brody and the guys down there at Tech?
It's going well. What people don't understand is Virginia Tech is a program that just builds and builds and builds. We may never ever fight for a national championship, and that's fine with us. As long as we're competitive, putting people in the pros, graduating kids, having kids do the right thing, we all right. And I'm all right with that. And I think the base needs to be all right with that. Every now and then you may get a team that go undefeated, but who knows, with this new playoff with 12 teams, you may have a better chance of getting there. But it is what it is. I don't have no crazy expectations. Oh, we're going to beat Michigan and Ohio State and Alabama and all them. It's a program that just builds and just builds the right way. I mean, it's
okay.
Look, Virginia Tech, Boise State. Those are two programs. When you look over the longevity of all the years, those are probably the two programs that didn't have the silver spoon, didn't have all that stuff, and they just built it from the ground. They didn't have a reputation of all that other stuff because they weren't in the top 25. When you look at them over, like right now, you can take when I graduated 88, 35 years ago, look at the top 25 and look at the top 25 now. The only thing different that, over time would have been Virginia Tech and Boise State, programs like that.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the programs are mainstays, and I'm not mad at them. They do a good job. But, for our fans, they just need to realize that's who we are. We blue collar, hard work, bring it. Every now and then, you're going to beat an Ohio State. Every now and then, you're going to beat an Alabama, which we've done. But you ain't going to beat them on a consistent basis if you don't keep getting the 4- and 5-star recruits. They need to wake up to that fact. That is a fact. So it is about the Jimmys and the Joes and who you can get. It is about that. And I'm not mad at those programs. So that's the reason why you never hear me hate on this program or that program, because I understand that in order to compete with them, you have to recruit with them. If you can't recruit with them, I don't care who you got coaching. You're not going to beat them on a regular basis.
No, you're probably not. Jody, your thoughts on getting more guys to the dance in terms of college football. And what I'm talking about is we've got a new landscape now. You've got new transfer rules, the transfer portal, which has transformed college football in some ways good, in some ways what some might consider bad. And then on top of that, you're going to also talk about the ability of players to opt out of bowl games. We're going to start the show tonight on the TD Report on that vein. Then we're going to get into the NFL. Thanks for joining us, and definitely hit the like and subscribe button. Jody, the transfer rule and NIL, what has that done as far as college football? Has it helped it? Has it hurt it?
I mean, I think for the guys at the top, I think it definitely helped those guys. We got guys that we would probably never seen play. I don't really like it per se. That's my personal opinion. But it's guys that are second and third string quarterbacks being able to go to other schools, and now we know who these guys are. I made a list of guys that transferred back in the past, top 5 kids that transferred. We probably wouldn't know who these guys were. One of them was Joe Flacco. He left
That's a big one.
Delaware.
That's a big one.
We had another one in Troy Aikman leaving Oklahoma, going to UCLA. Cam Newton leaving Florida, going over to Auburn. Just to name a few of those guys that transfer, we probably wouldn't know who those guys are. I like that dynamic because now every season you don't know. Like I said, Colorado was a team that won one game. They turn around and won 4, and they looking like they're going to win 8 or 9 next year because of the guys that they got. But I don't like that there's 12 teams. I think it's too many teams. 8 teams would have been enough, been suffice. But if we're looking at the championship round right now, everybody keep talking about Florida State should have been in and this and that. The team that should have been out, and it's not going to be a popular opinion, but it should have been Washington. Washington is the team that should have been at home. They struggled twice against Oregon. They struggled against Arizona State. They barely beat Washington State. And Florida State has steamrolled through pretty much everybody in their conference. And we was hyping the Pac-12 up so much at the beginning of the season, talking about all these great quarterbacks. Look at what USC did. They ended their season at 7-5. They won a bowl game last night. Washington State finished under 500. UCLA lost.
Let me jump in right there. Backup quarterback for USC. I think his name is Moss Miller. Is that right?
Yeah, Moss Miller.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, but I mean, they playing against a depleted Louisville team, and my thing is, but my
6
thing
touchdowns.
Is, that's one game. I'm talking about, can he sustain? Normally, backups are backups and can sustain that excellence for about 2 or 3 games, and then you see the fall off, i.e., Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs wowed everybody the first 2 games, and now he can't hit the side of a barn because backup quarterbacks are backup quarterbacks for a reason.
Tony, and that was great, Jody. Thank you. Tony, what do you think about that? Has NIL, and you're a big proponent of it, and you're one of the experts in the industry on it, has it helped college football? Has it hurt it?
It's actually, look, anything that's good for the players. And it's funny you asked that because yesterday I was with older Virginia Tech guys that were my age, and guys that were younger than me. So we got to see all different, generations of Virginia Tech players. And usually the players are for the players. And actually, one of the guys that was there is part of administration. He's an AD at one of the big schools. We all kind of on the same thing with the NIL, being good for the player. Here's what I am going to say. So, Cody, mark this on here. This is the Kennedy plan. In order to save the bowl system, we have to get rid of the old way of thinking of Lords of London, all or nothing. So let me explain to people. When your last game is played, usually the Saturday after Thanksgiving, that Monday, a player can go in and request to see what is his draft status, okay? So if a player goes in, let's say Jody Coleman Jr. Jody Coleman Jr. goes in, his draft status says 2nd round. He said, okay, well, I'm playing at University of Cincinnati, and we're playing in a bowl game. He said, well, should I play that or should I not? Well, let me get this insurance, gap insurance, and if I get hurt, and later on, if I go less than where they projected me, the insurance will pay after the draft. If I go in and don't get hurt, then I just pay for a policy and gave me a peace of mind. That is the Kennedy plan. In order to save those 12 teams, like you and Jody just talked about it, Jody just argued and said that USC beat a depleted Louisville team. And it's said that Virginia Tech beat a depleted Tulane team. Do we know? Years from now, they won't care. But they may be right. So how do we fix that? Because they didn't spend $3 billion for the playoffs for everybody to be sitting at home, for Jody Coleman Jr. to be sitting at home with dad watching the game. They didn't spend that money.
But
so
it needs to be the nature of the beast, though. It's the nature of the beast. I mean, my thing is, I don't necessarily like the fact that guys can dictate it as far as when we're talking about the NIL deals. I mean, I really can care less. I'm going to tell you what the problem is going to lie at with the NILs. When you start having players making more than coaches, how you going to tell me what to do? And I'm making $20 million and you making about $4 million.
I.e. Marvin Harrison.
And what are you going to tell me when I go to class? And I'm telling you, it's some dudes, haters are out here. If I see this guy that's making $20 million driving up in a different car, I'm going to follow him home. I'm going to call my boy from where I'm from. I'm going to holler at him. Y'all don't see, we ain't thinking about that. You got a guy that's driving a Maserati, a Maybach, a AMG. He driving a different car every day. He got every girl on campus on him. He already had them because he was an athlete. Now he got the money behind him. What are you going to do then when them guys come up missing?
Hey, you
Well,
can always do like the Boulder police. You can always do like the University of Colorado police and put a boot on the dude's Maybach. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like they did Dion's son. It's
Hey,
tickets.
Jody, what are you supposed to do? Are we going to now put a gate at the facility like they got at the pros for the college? Are we going to make sure that the athletes live in gated community? I can tell you right now in Blacksburg, in places like Penn State, that ain't happening because there ain't nowhere to go. You can do what you want to do, but when they find out and they shut down those 2 roads, the only way out is through those mountains. And I don't think you're going to be doing that, home team.
I'm gonna tell you what I suggest. I wrote a paper on this in college about 10 years ago, and when I wrote the paper, I basically said that this is before the NIL deal. I said that players should get a percentage of their stuff when they leave the university, whether through graduation, transfer, whatever. That's when they should get their money. My thing is if they're I think that their living expenses should be taken care of. If they got any outside entities they can loan against their self, if it's a family issue or something like that, that they need to take a lump sum of the money that they earn, but actually giving an 18-year-old that amount of money, giving a 19-year-old that amount of money, because now he becomes a target. And now is he focusing on football? That's the question.
Hey, Jody, you're halfway right. And this is what we're doing. This is a good segment for Kennedy Sports Group. I've hired a consultant because I didn't know, and I'm not a business person. So I had to find someone better than me. So what I think that should be done and what we're going to start doing, and we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks, what they should be doing is putting all this stuff in trust and all this stuff and teaching them how to start their foundation, because now that's not liquid no more. That they're not walking around with it. Now you got it in something that's protecting them and that's teaching them financial responsibility. See, the whole thing is if you teach them financial responsibility now while they're in college, then when they got more zeros, if they make the pros, it ain't no, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. You need to put that in trust and make sure that the family is learning how to live with them. And if you don't go pro, now you've got something. Well, if let's say you made $4 million over that time, well, that's sitting in a trust. You can put a gun to my head all you want, you can't get it.
Yeah, and I seen that somebody says hire a security firm, and that's a great. I think that's a great idea, because I'm telling you, these guys are gonna need security, man. I'm telling you, man. If I went to Central State University, I went to an HBCU, and somebody came up there had more than that other guy. It's some dudes that, listen, man. Y'all keep talking like the world is full of rainbows and strawberries, and cats get down out here, man. Like, if they see you got more than what I got, they gonna come and get it. And if they see the dude high siding every day at school, he basically missing class. And
Hey, are we? Hey, Cody, can we try to get Jody back? We lost you there for a second, Jody. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. All right, Tony, pick up where Jody was. So
well, listen,
we're not living in. I get what Jody's saying. We don't live in a perfect world.
What Jody's saying is 100% correct. I'm not, man. Look, I don't knock what he's saying on that side of cats coming out. But Jody, I got another thing to get you. I want you all at home to Google how many times a person in an electric car has been carjacked. Google that. And Google that for me. Hey, he riding around an electric car. He ain't getting jacked, dog, because they can't go nowhere. They can't go get the car. They can't get them. Now, if you ride around flashing them dollars and doing all that, you going to get got. Jody's right. But I'm telling them right now, I still ain't never heard nobody jacking a Tesla. And they some of the most expensive rides out there. Why haven't they jacked a Tesla? If we can't hear you, Jody.
Hey, Jody, go out and rejoin, boss. Go out and rejoin, and Cody will put you back on. Yeah, he's going to rejoin. Hey, and thanks to Jenna Gonzalez, who joined our show, sent in a text. She said, teach these guys some financial responsibility, that you cannot hold their hand. So, Tony, Kennedy Sports Group, You're not hand holding. You're showing people the way.
We're starting with our guy that's coming in January. We're setting this all up, and we're going to teach financial responsibility. Man, that's the only way you can do, man. I mean, you listen. Yeah, dude, the young kids got fly rides. Yeah, but you're going to have to. I mean, you can't hold their hand, man. What are you supposed to do? Yeah,
Can you hear me? Can you hear
We
me
got
now?
you now, Jody.
Now,
So what do you think
I-
about the financial responsibility piece, Jody? You talked about the physical security, keeping themselves safe,
right.
but talk about the financial piece of it as far as taking care of yourself, taking care of family, and being smart.
Somebody said they inject them Teslas because they ugly.
Jenna crazy. She said they won't steal Teslas because they're ugly.
But this is. I mean, we understand that college football has become a business. I understand that because I thought we were student athletes, but I guess that's athlete students now. I think it's out. So
that's out the window.
I don't want to hear nobody talk about the graduation rate at this point because nobody really give a damn about no graduation rate. Because if you did, first of all these guys that's transferring, how did your credits transfer over? Like, come on, man. Like, what classes are you taking? But nobody wants to talk about it became a strict business. So my thing is just take the school out of it. Take school out of it.
No.
Take classes out of it.
Can't do that.
You can't, but you should. Because if it's a business, who going to class? I can buy a degree. If I got 20 million, I got 20 girls doing my reports. Stop it.
Joe,
I
got 20 girls lining up to do every. I ain't even got to show up to class. I can call the professor.
Here, careful, Jody. We don't want any FCC violations.
I want them to come talk to me because we're gonna talk about some real stuff. You want to come to class, and I take all my classes online, and I have somebody else do it. I got $20 million. What you gonna tell me?
Angel Reese tried that, didn't she? I mean, listen, trying to take the class.
If you put $20 million in Jody Coleman's hands at 18 years old, I'm a monster out here.
Yeah, I'm King Kong, baby. You ain't stopping me. Because listen, you mentioned, the Angel Reese situation. There are a couple of players or a couple of student athletes in college sports, and not football or basketball, where they physically cannot go onto campus because they would make such a commotion. I think one of them is a gymnast at LSU, where she does not go onto campus because it's probably not physically safe for her because of psychos that have been staring at her IG with her doing splits on a pommel horse. Okay, I'm just saying this is crazy. And listen, if that was my daughter, hey, I would have to be down there at school with her and be carrying a bazooka. You can come up here if you want to, but my girl is gonna go to class.
Hold on, Dave. The elephant's in the room. Let's talk to that guy there and ask him what happens if Marvin Harrison Jr. comes back to school for that $20 million. That we keep hearing.
If Marvin Harrison come back to school, I think Caleb Williams is going to join him because he has the opportunity. I don't think Caleb Williams wants to go to Arizona. I don't think he wants to go to Chicago.
Washington. He's from D.C.
Listen,
he don't want to come here, Tony.
Yeah,
those places are cesspools for quarterbacks. Chicago has never had a 4,000-yard passer. So why would he want to go to the Windy City? Why would he want to go where they can't even block for him? So he doesn't want to go to Chicago. He doesn't want to go to Arizona. They got a good quarterback, and they don't even want to keep him. The Giants, really? He don't want to go to the Giants. He don't want to go to Washington.
I would go. If all those teams, I would pick the Giants because one is New York.
Who he throwing it to, Tony?
No,
who he throwing it to?
But listen, Jody. One is New York. Two, they probably got the best quarterback coach out of all those guys.
So why they quarterbacks stink?
Well, actually, DeVito, he got the most out of little Danny DeVito or whatever his name was.
Too. Listen, man, that's Danny DeVito, little brother Tommy DeVito. Listen what I'm saying, man. Daniel Jones sucks. Let's call it what it is. They haven't had a Pro Bowl quarterback since Eli Manning. And Eli Manning led the NFL in interceptions like 3 times in his career. Stop that. The other quarterback was Phil Simms. So New York doesn't have a rich tradition of quarterbacks.
But Dayball just don't have the talent. But I think he can build with someone like him because they got a decent defense. I think they'll be all right. And plus, when you look, see, here's two things. You either quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys or you quarterback with a New York team. Those two teams are the ones where the quarterbacks are above everything.
Hold on,
which meaning,
hold on, Tony. They said he'd be a fool to go back to school. Why would he be foolish when he can make more money going back to school than he would in his rookie deal? Why not go capitalize on making more money in school when they're giving away money? If they gave Marvin Harrison $20 million, what do you think they're going to give Caleb Williams if he comes to Ohio State? If they gave Marvin Harrison $20 million, guess what a rookie deal would be with Caleb Williams?
Hey, so
if
what's the cap?
4 year, he might get lucky to make 4 years, $50 million. Why not get that $25 million and then still make that next year? Come on, man.
Hey, Jody,
what's
the cap? Man. What's the player cap on Ohio State team if they got Marvin Harrison and they got Caleb, dude? What's the cap?
It's like $50 million.
Hey, have you seen our alumni? And guess what? If somebody else want to come, we'll pay them too. Guess what? It don't matter. We need to win the national championship, and we'll spare no expense. If you're giving Marvin Harrison, who can't make that much money, and then you go to the pro, they said you don't want to risk injury. Well, guess what? I don't want to risk not getting a second contract. Look at how many guys ain't getting a second. Baker Mayfield has yet to get a second contract, and he was the #1 pick of the draft. And he done had two great seasons. It's guys.
Daniel Jones got one.
Tua ain't got a second contract yet.
Not yet.
And Tua has an excellent record, have a better record than Justin Herbert, yet to get another second contract. Caleb Williams can, I understand the health aspect, but if he goes to a bad team, he's going to turn into Jameis Winston.
Hey guys, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk. See, this is the one thing about the NIL deals, because we're basically talking about professional sports in college already. So let's talk about the NFL real quick. I'm going to go to the NFC playoff picture, okay? So, Cody, if you can run these, if you're on, the 1 seed right now are the 49ers. Eagles sit top of the NFC East. They're the 2 seed.
No. They're the 3. If they went out, they're the 2. Right now, Detroit is the #2 seed. When I sent y'all that stuff, that is up to date. If they
I'm on the NFL. Tony, you're wrong. I'm on the NFL.com, boss. I'm on
NFL.com.
I'm on NFL.com.
#2 seed.
No, Eagles are the 2 seed. Lions are the 3. And here's the key. Sitting down there at the 6th seed, if the playoffs started today, are the Rams, which would set up, to me, one of the most interesting matchups in the playoffs off the bat. You would have Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit to play a game and to keep either move the Rams one step further in the playoffs and eliminate the Lions, or the Lions get to play their former quarterback. And obviously the Jared Goff angle as well. Jared Goff being the starter now in Detroit. I think that's one of the more interesting matchups, potentially, if that were to sit like that. Now we still have two more games left in the season. Lions are going to play Cowboys, and they're going to play the Cowboys for Week 17. Dallas sits in the 5 spot. Dallas is pretty much locked into the 5 spot. If they can't win, Tony, it's on NFL.com, man.
How we gonna be locked into the 5 spot?
He basically saying Philly gonna drop a game and Dallas gonna win out. That's what he's basically saying.
Well, y'all gonna have to beat Detroit first. Y'all are pretty much locked into the 5 seed, Tony. And you don't really want to go. You don't want to go into that 2nd seed if you can't get there.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They want to be in that 2nd seed to avoid the 49ers. They want to avoid the 49ers. Because guess what? If they locked into that 5th seed and they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guess who they play? They play the 49ers. Unless the Rams win. Unless the
Rams or the Seahawks win, which are very possible.
Nah.
Seahawks play the Steelers next week. Rams obviously play the Giants. The Rams should beat the Giants, but then again, you just never know. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. Buccaneers aren't out of the woods yet. They play against, they play against New Orleans. If the Buccaneers were to lose their next game, their playoff probability is still 68%. They're in a good spot. They're in a good spot to make the playoffs. And hey, shout out to Baker Mayfield. Left
Man,
for dead. Baker Mayfield's been left for dead a couple of times,
man, hold
and
on,
he's
Dave.
still he's still stomping, man.
I can't sit up here and let y'all keep praising this dude at 8-7 like he's the number one pick in the draft. This is what he's supposed to do. If this is the best that you get from the number one pick in the draft, we are setting the bar so doggone low. The bar is so low. An ant can get up under the bar. It's so freaking low. If this is what we're expecting out of the number one pick in the draft, a guy that started for 4 different teams in 5 years, and we're saying this is a success story. Come on, man.
Hey, look, it's all about getting that next paycheck, man. Like I said,
man.
he's supposed to have been out the league by now.
He's the number one
still
pick,
out there fighting, man.
He's the number one pick, and we up here, and he's having a fabulous season. But as the number one pick, you're happy because he's 8-7, and you're happy because he finally got 4 opportunities to be the starting quarterback. And we're sitting up here and we having a parade to Baker Mayfield. Man, stop it.
Jared Goff is a number one pick. Matthew Stafford is a number one pick. And you can't get to the journey. You're not all going to sit there at that Peyton Manning level for your entire career. Some of those guys are going to fall through.
Hold on, Dave. Matthew Stafford threw for 5,000 yards. He had a record-breaking season. This guy, look at his numbers. They're number one pick numbers as well as a Super Bowl win. Jared Goff has gotten better every year. He has 5 straight 4,000-yard seasons. Baker Mayfield is yet to even get the 4,000 yards once. And Jared Goff has a Super Bowl appearance. No.
Jody, it's rare that you get a quarterback like a Jared Goff that starts in a Super Bowl, okay, and then gets cast aside. The fact that he's still out here, it's rare. You don't see it. You don't see that happen very often. Now, we saw it with Jimmy G. We saw Jimmy G start a Super Bowl.
Was a 6th-round pick. Let's talk about the number one picks. Normally, the number one picks pan out unless you Jameis Winston and people just hate you. But if you look at number one picks, Michael Vick did well. He did well. Peyton Manning did well. Eli Manning did well. If you look at that number one picks overall, Matthew Stafford has done well. Jared Goff has done well. Those guys have done well. If you look at Baker Mayfield's stats compared to number one picks, they're completely pedestrian.
All I said is that he's still alive. I didn't say he was leading the league. You're taking that a little bit too far. Like I said, he ain't supposed to even be in the league. He's the number one pick in the draft. He ain't even supposed to be in the league anymore. That's how bad he was. But he's still there. Look, the Tampa Bay situation, most of us figured he was going to wash out of there anyway. Still got his team in playoff position. Yeah. I don't know if I don't even know if the Buccaneers are going to re-sign him or sign him, quote unquote, long term. But the fact that he's still playing football and getting paid to do it, I ain't mad at the guy. Listen, Matthew Stafford, after the Super Bowl, after he won that Super Bowl, the Rams are in salary cap hell. Okay, they're not supposed to be in the position they're in now, where they're in the 6th seed in the playoffs and have a shot to make a little bit of noise. They've been a relatively surprising team this year. And Matt Stafford is not supposed to be where he is. He's supposed to have been retired and living in that big-ass mansion he's got, which is literally 3 mansions jammed together. But that's a whole other story. He's supposed to be on a yacht somewhere, okay? He's still out here doing it. Geno Smith, another guy, drafted really high to come out of college.
But he was a 2nd-round pick, though. He was second round.
Yeah, but he was drafted. He was supposed to be a starter in New York. Things didn't work out. Got punched in the jaw, got his jaw broken. Now he's in Seattle. They're in the 7th seed. They're hanging on. Let's see if they make it in the playoffs, because right behind the Seahawks, you do have the Vikings at 7-8 that might have a shot. I don't know about the Packers. They're at 7-8, 3rd in the NFC North. I don't know what the situation is. They've got like a 26% chance to make the playoffs. I mean, the odds makers don't really think that they have a shot. So let's talk about the AFC real quick. The AFC is a little bit easier to determine, okay? There's still 5 available playoff spots. Ravens are in the 1 seed currently. Dolphins are in the 2 seed, just beat Dallas. Baltimore and the Ravens and the Dolphins play this week, okay? So you have 2 guys, 2 top quarterbacks, and you've had some really interesting matchups already with some good top guys. You had last week, you had Brock Purdy match up against Lamar Jackson. A lot of talk about Lamar Jackson playing well enough to win that game, doing really well for his Ravens. And you've heard the term possibly another MVP season. Tony, We talked about it for many weeks on this show as Jody gives up all the Browns gear. We're gonna get to your Browns in a second. Talk about your boy Joe Flacco. So, Tony, before he got the deal, before Lamar Jackson gets the deal, there was a lot of talk about him possibly getting traded up out of there. Okay, 2 first rounders was the going price. You had to give back 2 first rounders and meet Lamar Jackson's salary demands. There were no takers from no NFL team that were willing to do that. Now he has the Ravens at the 1 seed, currently in the playoffs with a couple of games left to play.
Listen, we all like music, right? We love music. What I've found out, and this is from arguments with Jody at 5:30 in the morning, we arguing over shit. And this is from arguments with everyone else. And I've come to say this about Lamar Jackson. It's like Sade. You can't compare her to no one. Is she jazz? Is she R&B? We don't know because she's just different. She's different. Lamar Jackson is just different. He's not Patrick Mahomes. Hell, he's not Michael Vick to me. Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. And just looking at the way he plays, he's one of the only quarterbacks. So let's get this straight. He's one of the only quarterbacks to come in the pros from an all-pro system that he had in college to dumbing them down to a system that was a college system in the pros. See, people don't talk about that. Why? Because he was a black running quarterback. But in college, he was in the most pro-ready system in the history of college, okay? So let's get that out the way. We know he can do that. So he's not only done that and come here. And all those Raven fans, I went all the way back on the thing, and I saw all the words. Oh, he's overpaid. He's overrated. He's this. He's that. But I tell you what. Y'all don't have Lamar Jackson, y'all ass would not probably be in Baltimore. Y'all probably be one of the ones on the thing ready to be in London, get moved. Because Lamar Jackson is the biggest thing that happened to the Ravens since Ray Lewis. And he's going to be the biggest thing that happened to him. Now, is he ever going to lead the league in passing again? Probably not. Is he ever going to lead the league in rushing? Probably not. But he's the only player in NFL history to lead the league in passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns from a quarterback position.
It's pretty incredible.
That's never happened before.
Tony.
But we want to talk about how he wasn't ready. Without Lamar Jackson, y'all are 4-9.
Tony.
Without him.
Stop.
Now, whether you're a Super Bowl team or you're not, for anybody to sit here and think that the Ravens are the Ravens without Lamar, he should have never got his money. I tell you what, you should have just traded him to Atlanta. And I tell you what, Atlanta wouldn't be 7-8 right now, struggling to get
Atlanta would be leading
playoffs.
their division. Yeah.
I want to say this, and me and Tony talked about Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson. He's not overpaid. I think he deserved his money. But Lamar Jackson may even win his second MVP in 6 years. But if Lamar Jackson don't win no playoff games, quit putting him with the Patrick Mahomes of the world. When Patrick Mahomes got 11 playoff wins, he has one. And he came into the league the same time as Josh Allen, and Josh Allen has 5 playoff wins. Joe Burrows came in after him, and Joe Burrows got 5 playoff wins. So what I'm going to say, I love Lamar Jackson, but when you're 1-3 in the playoffs, that regular season, he's a monster. He's one of the top 5 winning percentages in NFL history. And MVPs are regular season awards. But I think if he can't get to the level that we need him to get in the playoffs, that's what everybody, I think he's a dynamic quarterback. He's one of the best. He's top 5 quarterbacks in the league. but can he do it in the playoffs? He's going to have to prove to me. He's probably going to be the number 1 seed this year. So with him being the number 1 seed, you're going to have every home game. So that's where the proof is going to be in the pudding. And I'm not going to take nothing away from him because we ain't got to the playoffs. But if you can't win in the playoffs, man, you just a pedestrian quarterback that just can be dynamic.
And that's a very fair comment. But after that, when he does win, and it is a high probability rate that they will, based upon not just Lamar. So let me get this straight. So we're not just saying Lamar. It's the way he plays. He doesn't put his defense in bad situations. And his defense has the best linebackers since Ray Lewis and those guys. Those guys there, those two inside guys are every good as what Ray Lewis was by himself. Those two inside guys.
I mean, you saying a lot to say a little, man, because that's all fine and dandy. Can you win in the playoffs when we're playing extended football? I know what he can do in the regular season. He's proven it time and time again. That's what he's one of the most dynamic players in regular season history. But I like winning. I don't know about y'all, but I love winning.
And that's and I've said this for years about Lamar Jackson as a playoff quarterback. A lot of this has to do with how the Ravens scheme against everyone else's scheme to stop Lamar Jackson. If the originator of how to stop Lamar Jackson was Ron Lynn when he was in
San Diego.
It was San Diego at the time, yeah.
He was at San Diego at the time, bringing in extra defensive backs, well, essentially extra safeties, which were pretty much fast linebackers. And he basically crowded the box. Didn't put them right up on the line of scrimmage, just kind of eased them in behind where the linebackers would normally be, and then waited for Lamar to make his move. You come up and make a tackle, rally to the football. The issue I've always felt is the way that they've got a new coordinator, new passing game situation here in Baltimore. One thing I did notice when I watched film against the 49ers, most of the 4 wide receiver sets, when they put 4 receivers in formation, almost everybody is going vertical at the snap of the ball for the first 5 yards. They're trying to disguise what they're doing, whether it's going to be a corner concept, an over concept, a go concept, but they're all going in the same direction off the snap. So when you see Lamar Jackson drop back, all you see from him are his receivers going vertical, okay? Nobody's doing a stop or anything like that. If you can get early pressure on Lamar Jackson, like the 49ers were able to in a couple of situations, and you don't give him anywhere to escape to, okay? And he can't throw the football. That's how he ended up with that safety. That's exactly how he ended up with that safety. It was supposed to be
helping the ref. He would have ran around after the ref wasn't there.
Now, that ref looked like a fool. Honestly, that ref took some money because he fell down on his own.
Hey, guys, because I got the Cleveland Browns are about to play. Can I speak on the Browns real quick? And I know y'all probably going to continue on, but I'm going to jump off after I speak on the Browns.
That's cool. Let's talk about that because that goes right along with what I was getting ready to go to. Jody, your Browns are playing the Jets tonight. It's the Joe Flacco revenge game. Flacco's a former Jet. They should have brought the Jets should have brought him back this year. They might have had something. You guys did a great job getting him in there.
This is my thing when we talk about Joe Flacco. We want to praise Joe Flacco, and rightfully so. Everybody talking about this is going to be a quarterback decision when Deshaun comes back. Let me go ahead and put something in perspective for you guys that's out here in the talking heads of the media. Deshaun Watson is 5-1 as a starting quarterback, whether you like it or not. The Browns are 5-4 without him. Joe Flacco is 3-2 as a starter. Let's stop acting like he's ripping up. He's 3-2 as a starter, and he almost gave that Chicago game away. He threw a pick six, and actually you can count the other one as a pick six because he ran it back to the 1 yard line. So I love what he's doing. He's unlocking Amari Cooper, but they look like Amari Cooper is not going to be active tonight.
Cody says he's inactive tonight.
So that's going to put a lot of strain on what Cleveland's trying to. And Njoku is looking masterful out there and everything. But we got to understand the Cleveland Browns beat a Texan team without C.J. Stroud. We beat a Jacksonville team that I don't know, they going south literally, and then we beat a Chicago team where we almost gave that game away. So let's stop acting like we just beat Although the last game that Deshaun Watson played, he was 14 for 14 down the stretch on the road against the best team in football, the Baltimore Ravens, and he orchestrated the drive to beat them, being down 17. And he was playing with a torn rotator cuff. So let's put everything in perspective. We love the new and Joe Flacco, and he's going to be the guy for us. Who has he beat for real? Deshaun Watson has beat some guys. So I want y'all to understand and know football, and don't just get all enamored about because he thrown for 300 yards 3 straight games. That's amazing. But when you're playing against inferior talent, you're going to get that. When you got a reeling Texan team, you got a reeling Jacksonville team, and you played the Bears, for God's sake. And we up here want to hail him as the new starting quarterback in Cleveland. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to. He's a backup. And he's coming in and he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. I love what he's doing. But that's what he's supposed to do. He's beating teams that we're favored in all those games. So all I'm going to say is this. Deshaun Watson is our future. So anybody think that he's not, man, y'all are really, like, y'all done bumped y'all head to think that y'all ready to get rid of a 27-year-old quarterback for a 39-year-old quarterback in February.
Yeah, I think if anything, people are just kind of trying to ride the wave. If, the Jaguars sit at the 4 seed, Browns sit at the 5 seed, Buffalo Bills, who were left for dead earlier this season, they're in the 6 seed. And the Colts, amazing, at the 7 seed right now.
I think the Colts are going to be the ones out. Somebody's going to come and take the Colts spot. But that 5th seed, look at the NFC and AFC. The 5th, 6th, and 7th seeds, they all dangerous. Your 5th seed is Cleveland. Your 6th seed is Buffalo. And let's say your 7th seed was Houston.
Yeah, Buffalo
That's
sits
dangerous,
at the 6th seed. Right now, the Chiefs sit at the 3 seed. They would be playing Buffalo if the season ended right now.
Want that game,
and that's not a game that Kansas City wants to see.
No,
and they get that one at home. Listen, they do not want to see that.
Y'all can say what y'all want. That Patrick Mahomes want to see whoever. Patrick Mahomes has 11 playoff wins. Patrick Mahomes has been the 5 AFC Championship game. So I don't think he cares about who's on the other side. He ain't no punk, man. He ain't worried about it. He done proved time. Didn't y'all say this about him 3 years ago when he played Josh Allen and he busted Josh Allen up?
But the way they playing right now, listen, Philly and the Eagles, you can make an argument for them because of history, and that's great. But I'm looking at the way they are playing right now. And I said this when Philly had 0 losses and they had 1 loss. I thought Philly was the best team in the league last year. I think this year, losing those 2 coordinators, I don't think they have ever recovered from losing those 2 coordinators.
Tony, man, I can't even let you do that, man. Dave, I can't let him do it. Y'all act like they're not gonna be 13-4. What are we talking about? We act like they done dropped out of the playoffs. Regardless of how they play, everybody's playing football. If you look last year, they got out of a lot of games. It was close games. Come on, y'all.
Jody, in 1983, the Dallas Cowboys started off 7-0, and we came back and we beat a whole bunch of teams. Then we lost to the Rays. We 7-1. We got down there towards the end of the year. We ended up 13-3 that year. But looking at the Dallas Cowboys, I love them to death. I knew they were in trouble because of the way they played. That first game they came, they played an inferior Rams team. That Rams team wore their ass out because of the way they were playing. And they had one of their best records ever. But that wasn't who they really were. And I'm telling you, Philly and Kansas City aren't the same. They may have better records than last year. What was Philly's record last year? What was it?
They was 13. They was 14-3, and they were probably gonna be 13-4 this year.
The way they play is damn sure not a 1 game. If they went out, they would only be a 1 game difference. And I'm looking at that team from last year to this year, and I can even look at the way Dallas played. When Dallas played them the first time last year, they physically beat the shit out of us. We had Cooper Rush. That's all right. We played them the second time, threw on them. This year, we beat them both games. outplayed them both games. That's not the same Philly team.
Who
I'm
cares?
telling you.
Y'all want to be
your
cute.
boy's hurt.
Tony, you
your
want
boy
to
is
be
hurt,
Tony,
and they hide it.
Tony, you want to be cute. You want a cute win. I don't
No.
give a damn how many yards they got. I want the
Nope.
victory. And Philadelphia is about to have they're going to have 27 regular season victories in 2 seasons.
And
27.
And what I am telling you is that Philly team, if that Philly team is in the 2 spot and that Philly team got to play the Rams in the 7th spot, I am telling you right now that Rams team can beat that Philly team. That Philly team last year, if they were in the 2 spot and had to play the Rams or anybody in the 7th spot, they would smoke them. That team last year is much different than this team.
There's something about, I think at the beginning of the season, a lot of people felt that the Eagles and the Chiefs were going to run away with the AFC and NFC and be a rematch in the Super Bowl, even though the statistics tell you that a Super Bowl rematch is extremely, extremely rare, number one. Number two, the Chiefs, there's something about the Chiefs that just watching them, something isn't right in Kansas City. I don't know what it is, but there's something in the mix that ain't right. But and they aren't playing the way that I think they're capable of. What do you think it is, Jody? And we'll get the show done. We'll get the show done on this. I want your last word on that. What's wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Of course, we got bad wide receiver play. I think defensively they're better. And when you start minimizing the game when you get to the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes are not going to make those mistakes. He showed time and time again that he's the most clutch quarterback of our era. I mean, this guy is literally only team that has beat him. I'm going to tell you the players that beat him. Joe Burrow was hot as hell, and Tom Brady. That's the only 2 people that beat him in the playoffs. He lost 3 playoff games, 2 to Tom Brady and 1 to Joe Burrow. We talking about the second best quarterback in football, Joe Burrow, and we talking about Tom Brady to go. So he don't wipe everybody else out the water. I'm going to put and guess who haven't beat him in the playoffs? Josh Allen ain't beat him in the playoffs.
Not yet.
Baker Mayfield didn't beat him in the playoffs.
Almost.
Jackson ain't beat him in the playoffs.
He was close.
Deshaun Watson didn't beat him in the playoffs. All these guys that we know and we love, guess who come out? He's 11-3 in playoffs. He's 11-3. And until somebody dethrone him, I got to see it physically to know. And even if they beat him this year, hey, what's up, my guy? Even if they beat him this year, he's still going to be 11-4.
And
I'm out.
And that's great, Jody.
Thanks, Jody.
Before you leave, so everybody know, Jody's right on the stats. But what Jody ain't telling you is that Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game.
He's going to this year.
But he's not going to play a road playoff. His first game is going to be at home. So that's
I think they do get that game. I think they get the
played a road playoff game.
We will see, but guess what? His name is Patrick Mahomes. And
we'll see, buddy.
Before I go, Dave, his numbers, he's still about to go for 4,000 yards, and he still has close to 30 touchdowns. It ain't like he's having an awful season compared to what Patrick Mahomes does. He's not
better than Justin Herbert or the other guy. What's his name in the division? Russell Wilson. They traded Russell Wilson.
Well, he's got almost 900 yards more than Russell Wilson. But
I know
he has more interceptions.
But he had like 10 more interceptions, don't he?
No. Russell Wilson has 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, and Pat Mahomes has 26 and 14. So it's not 10 more. It's about 5 or 6 more.
It's not. We know that, and I'm not giving no excuses, but it's crazy that we're talking about Patrick Mahomes is having a down year when this will be a career year for Baker Mayfield.
Hey, listen, it's all relative.
Yeah.
I'm going to see y'all Monday.
Thanks, Jody.
Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year, brother. Tony, stick around before we close out.
Oh, no, yeah. So, folks, before we get going.
Oh, no. No, you're not doing that. Nah.
It's December 28th. It is the anniversary of the Hail Murray.
Hey, man, shout out to Drew Pearson, man.
And Roger Staubach.
Have a great New Year, buddy, and enjoy the Thursday night game. You watching it?
I'm watching because ain't nothing else on. They got this Pop-Tarts bowl on.
Yeah, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I got to step out for a second, but I'll hit you guys
All right,
later on the
brother.
text. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us. Great show tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
See
Happy
you
New Year.
guys. Hey, thanks to all the guys who supported us this year. Happy New Year. See you guys next year. Yep. You're right. Chiefs aren't as good